adventurers, and welcome to another War of Emperium session here in Ragnarok Online GGH. We are your casters. My name is James.
And my name is Samji. Yeah,
And how are you, MG?
I'm doing good. Pretty
Yeah.
excited for the War of Imperium, and same time, maybe we're gonna see a brand new GVG matchup for tonight.
Mhm.
Not sure, but right now we have nonsense here in Kremhill. So,
Yeah. So actually, we're gonna follow them right now as they enter
yep.
Kremhild. But you know what makes us excited for today's War of Imperium session is that our guilds actually performed really well in our last War of Imperium session. Actually, Nonsense has been defending castles really well as Fratres Ad Vitam. These medium-sized guilds have been defending castles really well, as
Yep.
well as Arsenal. I think Arsenal has been doing their best as well in the last session. And we saw some of the other guilds that are, um, you know, not that big as of last session, but we saw them actually participate in War of Imperium, like Chow, and participated along with, I think that was Last Nightmare or Dominari. And we've seen the offensive prowess of Last Nightmare as well, and Dominari. They've been battling it out. Of course, they have dominating numbers. They have two guilds. They actually had a GVG match on their own.
Yeah.
So it was a Dominari versus Dominari battle.
Yeah, exactly. I think we actually missed that match on Dominati side. But again,
Mm-hmm.
last War of Imperium, we saw some team ups again as well from other
Mm-hmm.
guilds. I think we saw Arsenal teaming up with certain guilds as well. And yes, you are right. We are actually seeing the other side of their strategy of this guild. So I'm very happy to see that most of them are pushing for the GVGs and
Mm-hmm.
trying to test their strengths against other guilds.
Yes, and of course, for those of you who are, new to the game, you don't know what War of Imperium is. So, War
Mm.
of Imperium is a game feature that allows guilds to fight each other in order to conquer a castle for their guild to get benefits and special advantages. So, there are four castle locations: Frontera Valkyrie Realm, Bayon Baldur Greenwood Lake Realm, Geffen Britonia Realm, and Aldebaran Luina Realm. So, if you are going to ask what are the benefits and special advantages, for now, I can only think of two, but they might be more.
Mm-hmm.
Because based on my understanding, you will have access to a guild dungeon or the guild dungeon if you own
Yep.
a castle. Aside from that, you will get exclusive castle drops. What I mean by exclusive is that you can only get them in that
Yes.
specific
Yes.
castle. For
Castles.
example, emblem of the sun god, which is used to create a solar god helm, is only dropped, or hat is that is called hat of the sun god, can only be dropped in the Scarlet Palace in Payon. So those specific drops are what you need in order for you to become stronger in ROGGH. And of course, you can also use those drops in crafting specific items like god items that will come out in the near future.
Yep. That's actually true.
All right.
Speaking of War of Imperium,
Ooh.
right now we are actually seeing a brand new guild who's just joined in. I think the name of this guild is DS Cartel.
Uh-huh.
And again, the one who's defending for this castle is Nonsense, and I think they should be aware on how Nonsense is playing this portal strategies. Right, we
Mhm.
know for a fact that Nonsense can do portal bombs, numerous portal bombs on their side. So I think they're just gonna fall back on this one, trying to guard that entrance point on the south
Mhm.
side. And let's check if Nonsense can recognize that, if they can actually flank in. No answer from Nonsense. And again, DS is gonna go in, and let's check if they can contest this defense
Ooh.
coming from Nonsense.
Ooh.
Nonsense right now dropping heavy damage on the floor. Land Protector is on the side of DS. DS right now is trying to push in towards the preamp, I think. Yeah.
Yes, and actually, DS Cartel, did a good job there into actually taking advantage of the situation. They
Yep.
they knew that Nonsense doesn't have, a decent defense setup for the time being. That's why they took advantage of that and made sure to enter that Portal perfectly with the right amount of numbers and skills involved in actually dealing with enough damage to sustain
Yep.
and to build a solid defense there in the portal for their members to enter perfectly.
Yes,
All right,
and
so that
Surfer.
was a nice push coming from DS Cartel.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't know what happened there on the side of nonsense. Maybe there's a miscommunication because we saw a land protector, a quick land protector on the portal. That land protector gave the opportunity to give the cartel an open push for the backlane of
Mhm.
nonsense, and I'm not sure why that land protector has been on that area because usually nonsense is very we know nonsense they have this very tight defense, and on that push they lost their grip on that defense.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons why maybe their defense isn't just that set up that yet, because usually nonsense has a low skill or a
Yep.
classical pluck in the portal, so they can actually provide better defense in that area. But for that push, we didn't see any Rockiesville, so maybe because of that, they didn't have enough time to set things up.
Yeah,
So that's why uh, uh,
maybe yeah maybe
DS
that it got
Cartel actually
contested.
got
Yeah.
the upper hand. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I think VS Cartel they actually know what to do. So this
Mm-hmm.
is maybe this is not a brand new guild that we're seeing. Maybe this is a brand new like maybe there's old guilds merge on that maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely DS Cartel knows what to do on the fight scene on this one. And for this castle, or surprisingly, we are seeing Adonis, DS Cartel, Last Nightmare, and Nonsense on one castle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an early action for our War of Imperium. Having four guilds in one castle is something to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Actually, we're going to be seeing a lot of action, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
for today's session or for tonight's session. But Last Nightmare, they have a lot of numbers, and I'm pretty sure Dominari later on will
Yeah.
be going in and contesting this castle to defeat Last
Okay.
Nightmare because
Yep.
as what you can see, Last Nightmare doesn't have a decent defense setup as of yet. So maybe if they already set up their defenses, they can actually eliminate all those competitors that are going to enter this castle, or
Yes.
so that they can push perfectly later on. But for the time being, we are going to be seeing a lot of
Yeah.
guilds here in the Kremhild Castle. And if you are watching the stream, you're not today or right now, and I greet you all, and please like and follow our page Ragnarok Online GGH, and you can share the stream as well, share it with your
Yep.
friends, share it with your guildmates, so we can have more viewers in and more people in. If you want to shout out your friends or your guilds here in the chat, you can do so. We can read that out. Again, we have a stream delay set up, so we can't read that right away. There will be a delay before we can actually read and shout things out. And you can also join our Ragnarok Online GGH community Discord,
Ooh.
which
Yeah.
are you can chat with chat with other people in Ragnarok Online GGH. Links can be found in the description of the stream and in the pinned comment section. All right.
Yep.
So yeah,
So
right now we are seeing things
Last Nightmare.
unfold. Yeah, last nightmare.
Early action for War of Imperium. Okay, so earlier, James, we saw DS Cartel versus Adonis, but I think Adonis lost their grip on their offense, and
Mm-hmm.
DS managed to take the win. And on the entrance side of this castle in Kremhild, we saw Last Nightmare blocking nonsense, and right now Last Nightmare is at the on this portal spot, wherein if they're gonna push, they're gonna meet their opponent, DS Cartel, and let's see if
Mm-hmm.
DS Cartel can actually answer back with a good defense on this one. On the
Mm.
side of DS Cartel, they have this ground suras and flankers, making sure that they're actually taking the players of Last Nightmare one by one. But Last Nightmare managed to push quick Dragon Breath there, quick offense, and they managed to push DS Cartel immediately. And some of the DS Cartel are trying to hold their ground. Dragon's Breath on this one Alon from DS Cartel casting multiple dragon water breath, connecting to several players and sustaining the damage from 4 players there. Let's see if Alon can sustain this damage coming from the raft of Last Nightmare. And Last Nightmare is losing their numbers, and DS Cartel is sustaining every damage that they can, take from Last Nightmare. So very
Yes.
good sustained there coming from DS Cartel, and especially for that RK Alon from DS Cartel. Very good sustain and very good fire back damage coming from that class.
Yes. Actually, what happened there was that the DS Cartel doesn't have a decent setup
Yep.
just yet there in the portal. That's why Last Nightmare perfectly entered the portal and the
Mhm.
castle and made sure to just walk in and maybe go directly to the Emperium while dealing a bit of damage
Yep.
to those defenders here in this castle. But DS Cartel with that Rune Knight just sustaining damage
Yeah.
against, I think that was 4 or 5 members from Last Nightmare.
Yep.
And what helped them sustain that damage, or what made them stay alive from that Dragon's Water Breath from DS Cartel, is that Numa from
Yep.
that Archbishop. That Archbishop actually casted that Numa perfectly at the right spot, at the right time, to prevent the damage getting taken from his guildmates Last Nightmare. But we are going to see things on how DS Cartel defends this castle. Earlier on, we saw that they didn't have a decent defense setup as of yet. They only had a few members there beside that portal. They don't have a classical pluck or a Loki's Veil.
Yep.
And Last Nightmare, they just walked in. They just walk
Yep.
in. So maybe, this DS Cartel is kind of new guild in our eyes for now.
Yep.
Maybe they are just setting things up and making sure they have, a decent, they have decent communication and decent
Yes.
setup for this War of Emperium session.
Yes, I really like the confidence of that player earlier, Alon from DS Cartel. He's just gonna stand there and and do an exchange damage versus 4 players. So surprisingly, that sustain coming from that player is superb actually, and hoping that they can actually perform more. Again, earlier we're seeing like 4 guilds in one castle, and I think everyone. I mean, this castle got the attention of every guild that we have right now, and I think they're just jamming inside the entrance, and we are seeing right now Last Nightmare setting up their trap on this entrance for Kremhild.
And they just want to set things up.
Yeah.
Of course, we are going to see Arsenal push in as well as some members of Dominari, maybe just scouting in to make sure they have enough numbers to deal with their opponents here. But Last Nightmare,
Ooh.
from what we've seen from Last Nightmare in the last session, when they push in the second time, they were always successful. So Dominari already has things set up here in this choke point.
There's actually 2 Dominaries, James. The other one is at the El Choke spot. Woo!
Yeah. So this is a decent choke point to actually hold your opponent. So Dominari is going to push out, maybe deal with Last Nightmare, who's just entering this castle for the time being. While Arsenal was dealing with enough damage against Last Nightmare there. The Dominari just
Okay,
push in, the coordination of this guild. Dominari just pushing Last Nightmare out and eliminating the members there that are not out yet. But, Last Nightmare is going to have a hard time into entering this castle if Dominari is just there, preventing them from, going in perfectly. And Last Nightmare needs to set things up perfectly and maybe, getting ready for GVG. And DS Cartel, I'm not really sure if they're allied with Dominari right now because Dominari is just holding this castle. But, the Dominari might deal with DS Cartel like the Pink Dominari, while Red Dominari is holding this choke point. Pink Dominari might be pushing in right now in the castle.
Okay.
So,
To be fair, James, it's been a while since I saw a walking land protector on a strategy on War of Imperium. So seeing that walking land protector on the side of Dominari brings back some memories, So wow.
Yeah, and Actually, I think MG, you can go inside the castle. You will see, Dominari. Dominari might be pushing in for now to actually destroy this or take this Emperium down or take this castle. So we now are now seeing the defense of the Escartal. They don't have a lot of numbers right now, but I think they have a decent defense set up for time being. Dominari entered, the Dominari led by Shuya,
Oh,
but here goes the Arrow Storms, and look at those Arrow
oh,
Storms and Dragon's Breath coming from the
the
Escartal.
sustain.
They don't have enough numbers right there, but you can see the damage output, eliminating some of the members from Dominari that just
I think
entered. And look at that damage! Without that
counter
Lamp
push.
Protector, with that Numa set up in their
Oh,
spot, they didn't have that chance to actually cast that Land Protector, and that Psychic Wave
oh,
coming from that Sorcerer or Diamond Dust rather, Diamond Dust and Psychic Wave just eliminating a lot of members from Dominari, just
wow.
having a hard time, while DS Cartel doesn't have that of a solid defense for now, but they know what to do in each situation. That's why they managed to take down the members of Dominari that just
Wow.
pushed in this castle.
Wow. Yes. And James, to be fair, I think they are doing a different approach on defending like portal deaths, right? Because on before we keep on seeing storm gust, arrow shower, dragon breath on the portal, but they have a different approach on this one. Uh they have this poison up here, and they have this ground control players. Um you have your Sura, you have your Archbishop, you have your Rune Knight here. So I think they're doing a different approach regarding defending a castle here, and we are seeing like two guilds trying to contest this defense, but no one succeeded on these two guilds. So I think
Yes.
they're proving that you can actually defend a certain castle with a different meta or different class composition. So very well played here on the side of TS Cartel. Very impressive.
Yeah, I think let's not dwell on the defense any longer right there.
Yeah.
MG, I think we need to go out and not actually spoil the defense for the other guilds that are watching right
Yep.
now. But, MG, like what we said earlier, the defense of the Cartel, yeah, it is really different. They don't have that classical pluck or that Roki's
Yep.
veil set up. They don't have those traps to prevent other players from going in. They just let their opponents cast that land protector
Yes.
that in the portal, and then because of that, they take advantage of that situation, and they actually cast long range physical attacks against
Yes.
their opponents like arrow storms and dragon's breath. And because of those AoE attacks, they managed to take down a lot of players from Dominari that just went in.
Yep.
And if Land Protector got removed by any chance, they have those sorcerers casting heavy magical damage
Yep.
like those Diamond Dust and Psychic Wave to deal with their opponents there in the portal. But for now, Dominari is going to have a second try. I think
Yep.
these are two different guilds. There's a pink one and there's a violet one.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a pink one and there's a violet Dominari. So these are, or my eyes are just
Yeah, yeah. There's a light color. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's
There's a
like
light
a pink
color.
one, right?
Yeah, light color.
There's
Yeah.
a light
Yeah, yeah.
colored pink
Yeah, this
one.
one. Yeah, this one. This one.
Yeah.
And James, at the same time, I really like how DS Cartel is playing this. They are actually sending multiple suras out of their stock area, and making sure that they have the intel to to advise the main group inside if the guild has like multiple frontliners, or what guild are they gonna face inside. So I think I really like how this cartel is playing this War of Imperium. The defense, first the defense that they have, second the information that they're trying to gather for those guilds who's gonna contest their defense inside. So
Yes.
well played on the side of DS Cartel.
Yes, and I like the strategy of Dominari right there because they have a lot of numbers and they have three guilds, the pink one and the dark color, the violet one.
Yep.
They have three guilds, so Dominari has three guilds right now. The red Dominari or the dominant or the Dominari with a lot of numbers right now are just holding you know that choke point in the first portal
Yeah.
in the entrance, and because of that, you know, pink dominary or this purple dominary is safe from flanks, so they will be able to go in perfectly without you know, worrying about someone flanking them
Yeah.
or you know, pinching them from behind.
Yep. Exactly. So
That will only work if Dominari actually wins the battle. But if Last Nightmare pushes them and you know, eliminates Dominari defending that choke point, you know, that's going to be a different
yeah.
matter when that happens. But I think they have decent communication set up, and of course, if that happens, the Pink Dominari will be there to support the Red Dominari. But right
Yes.
now, Pink Dominari actually went in and trying to enter this portal, and look at the numbers of Dominari right
Yes.
there, getting
Oh,
eliminated one by one by that Arrow
quick
Storm
dispel there.
and Diamond Dust. And look
Oh
at that
wow.
cycle with Dragon's Breath, a lot of AoE
Wow.
damage, and Dominari didn't stand a chance in that matter, and they got eliminated one by one as they entered you know, that portal.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, the
And
sorcerer at the back is. I mean, he's been casting this spell multiple times here. They have their ground control players, making sure that no one is actually moving on their spot. And the AoEs from the back lane is, you know, has been very successful in hitting multiple targets. And it actually paid off their patience there and their execution as well. So, a good wipe there coming from DS Cartel versus Dominari Purple. Wow.
yeah, and you know, decent defense here coming from DS Cartel. And you know, I like the defense, how their defense is set up.
Yep.
But because that was the second time that Dominari failed to
Mm.
actually penetrate the defense of what they call this, of DS Cartel right there. You know, the Red Dominari might push this castle to actually push DS Cartel out, but you know, maybe Dominari or will have next try to actually, uh, you know, have a chance or in defeating the Escartal that's just defending. You can see a lot of Last Nightmare
Yep.
members are regrouping outside the
Okay.
portal right now, while Pink Dominari or Purple Dominari just entered this portal right now to regroup here inside the castle.
Yes. So again, a very shocking performance coming from DS Cartel. The damage, the consistency about from their ground control players. Same goes with their from their backlane as well. It's very well coordinated, and again, I think they're gonna try their push again versus DS Cartel, and Red Dominari is just gonna block the entire entrance here or the L choke here for the Purple Dominari.
Yes, and while they are setting things up, I want to read some of the comments right here.
Ooh.
Shout out to King, said Edison. Let's go LN, said Michael. And back to the War of Emperium, max level. I'm already max level.
Oh, congrats, congrats.
Said Primrose. Yeah,
Congrats.
actually Primrose was present in our last War of Imperium stream. So
Hello.
congratulations, Primrose. She said, I think last War of Emperium, if I remember correctly, she wasn't you know, maxed out in the last War of Emperium session. That's why she didn't participate. But for now, she is maxed out, so I think she will be participating, or she or
Yeah.
he will be participating in the War of Emperium.
Yes.
You know, I might be deceived. You know,
Again, having those like 100% XP boost from time to time is really helping the players to, you know, to do a quick catch up versus the veteran players that we have. And like keep on mentioning in nursing, ROGG8 has a good catch up mechanic. From time to time, they're updating the events as well, wherein people can participate on multiple War of Imperium events. Not only in War of Imperium events, but also in PvE events as well. So, yep, players
Yeah,
should take
and,
advantage on that.
yeah, and they're saying here in the comment section, DS Cartel is solid. So right now, you know, DS Cartel actually managed to defend this castle against the attacks from Dominari, and earlier on from
What?
was that nonsense to push in
Co-
earlier on? Or
Yeah.
I think that's still Dominari though.
Yeah, my question.
But they
Yeah, I think James. My question. Sorry about that. My question is, who is this cartel? Are they a new guild or a brand new reform guild? Mm.
Uh, we won't know unless
Yeah,
they actually give us more information about
yeah.
that.
I'm
But
very
it's
curious
new.
about
It's new
this.
in our eyes right
Yep.
now. So, it might be a newly formed guild. Of course, we had a level up boost
Yep.
last weekend or last Saturday, last Friday, Saturday, Sundays, last
Okay.
weekend. So that's why maybe they level up their guild. But right now, we are going to see the
Okay.
defense again from DS Cartel. But
You.
Dominari changed their strategy. They actually pushed in first, and they managed to cast that Mandragora Howling, which makes it difficult for the defenders to into actually casting those skills. And because of that, the defense of DS Cartel got scattered right now, but Dominari wasn't able to push in that matter for now because they have some members left behind
Yep.
to defend their castle, and they are so quick into actually using that that flag warp to go in and defend their castle. But right now,
Oh.
we are going to be seeing some few battles here and there, and of course, they are just going to eliminate the Dominari members that just went in.
Yes.
And the defense almost got penetrated
Yep.
there, but they knew when to back down. As what you saw right there, some of their members, got a damage that time,
Yep.
but some of their members, got eliminated. But some of them actually managed to back down and to defend the play or defend the spot, eliminate the players that just passed through the other players of DS Cartel.
Yes. And like, to be fair, James, very curious about this guild. They've been performing very well on this War of Imperium. They know when to paddle back. They know when to engage. If they lost their if their main carry is getting bursted, they know how to
Oh
regroup. They
no.
know how to answer
Oh
back. And
no.
again, right now, Dom Red
Oh no.
Dominari is gonna answer with the immediate push here. But again,
Oof.
DS Cartel has the answer to defend on they have the answer on the offense of Dominari. And I think they're pretty set up on this one. And let's check if Dominari is gonna push on this one. And I think they're gonna
Oof.
switch. Red Dominari now is gonna head versus they're gonna
Yeah.
fight the DS Cartel
Yeah.
on this one.
Actually,
Woo!
Red Dominari right now, they're
Okay,
they are
I think this
they're
is
gonna
on
be
a
the ones
serious
who will
mode.
try and penetrate this defense because the pink Dominari, purple Dominari already lost 3 times.
Yep.
Maybe they figured out that maybe their defense or their numbers weren't enough or their
Okay.
offense
Yeah.
wasn't enough to deal with the Escartel who are just holding this portal, the third portal of this castle. So maybe they want to try a new strategy right there. But I like the defense of the Escartel right there. They don't have a decent or they don't have a meta portal def set
Yeah.
up like
Yep.
what you said earlier. But they managed to defend this castle against 3 attacks coming from Dominari. But right now, Red Dominari is going to have a chance or have a go against the Ascartel who are defending this castle. Maybe we will see 2 Dominari guilds push in this castle.
Yep.
Or because
Maybe.
if that happens, it will be really difficult for this card. Oh
Oh,
no! Oh
serious smoke.
no!
This is
Oh
a serious
no!
smoke coming from
I think
Dominari.
I think this will be difficult for DS Cartel to hold this, but we're not really sure
Wait.
because they might be able to defend this, but if DS Dominari doesn't push in
Okay.
quickly
Okay.
and yeah.
Yeah, James. To be fair, I think no one, like literally no one, managed to survive the full push of Dominari. I think in their entire War of Imperium session, no one managed to survive the full push of Dominari. If this cartel managed to survive on this one, and I think this is gonna be a different story.
Woo! And look at that, Land Protector got casted,
Oh,
but
wait.
Arrow Storm Dragons, but
Just
Dominari
aiming?
just going in.
They're
And
just
look
gonna
at
go?
the members of Dominari. They're just entering the
Oh!
castle like, oh my gosh, the
They're
swarm
swarming in now?
of Dominari players right there. Their numbers are
Okay.
too much. Their numbers are too much for DS Cartel to handle. And because of that, Dominari successfully penetrated the defense of DS Cartel right
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
They were serious at that
yeah,
time. They said,
serious mode by Dominari.
enough is enough. We want to take this
Okay,
castle down. Go out. This is our castle now.
okay, move and we're gonna take it. But
Yeah, better luck next time. We're serious now. We want
yeah,
to defend. We want to attack your castle.
and at one point
Alright.
there, James, on that defense, I thought they're gonna hold it. Right at one point there, I think they're I think they can sustain the push coming from the red and purple Dominari. But again, we know Dominari. They have the numbers, they have the gears, they have the capabilities on taking the Imperium, and I think they're unstoppable right now for a push. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So right now, maybe MG, you can actually take a look at the other castles
yep,
for now to actually see what is happening at different castles. But right now, props to DS Cartel. They managed to actually deal a lot of damage to Dominari, and they managed to defend against
very
three attacks coming from Dominari right there. And
yes,
I want to remind our viewers, we are showing codes every now and then there at our rather lower right portion of the screen, as you can see right there. So again, these codes are first come first serve. So the first one to redeem those codes will be able to get the items from the codes, like a 3 times battle manual, job manual, level 10 blessing scroll, level 10 agi scroll, and five mystic powders and tears blessing.
blessing. Yep.
For you to actually redeem those codes, you need to log in the website ro.gnjoy.asia.com and log in your ROGGH account. Click on membership, then redeem code. Type in the code again. The first one to type in the code and to redeem the code will be able to get the prize. If you're the second person to do it, you won't be able to receive anything because the it will say there that code has
Has been.
already been
Yep.
redeemed. All right.
Oof.
And
First half
yeah,
or first few minutes, first quarter of this
This
War of
quarter.
Imperium is really insane. Like fights left and right, guilds holding multiple choke points, guilds trying to penetrate multiple defense. Wow, wow. So
Yes. All right.
very nice War of Imperium right now.
Yes, and a comment here coming from Dewey. He said, "Go DS Cartel." All right, and a comment coming from Anne. I'm gonna translate that later on in a
Mm-hmm.
bit because
Okay.
it's in Filipino
Mhm.
again.
Here we go.
I want to think more before I translate.
Here we go.
I want to read it more and translate it better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
after a while. He said here from Andrew Coy Sanchez, said shout out to my guild nemesis Armada and to my buffed up GM.
Ooh, is
The
that?
most buffed up GM, Boss Joe Ed.
Hello,
Alright.
hello, hello.
Good luck, have
Shout
fun.
out, shout out.
Alright. I don't know what's the direct translation of that word if if you can read the comment section, but you know, we're going to try and translate things.
Okay, and at the same time, James, maybe the viewers can actually, if they know the Cartel, maybe they can actually share something about them on the comment section, so we can, we have a bit of information about them,
Yeah.
right? Because again, they're very impressive when it comes to fights as well.
Mm.
So I'm actually, very curious about them. So if you know something about them, maybe you can actually put it down on the comment section. Maybe we can check it out. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
All right, and yeah, I read some comments there. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate to actually say that in
Yeah.
stream,
Okay.
but
Okay.
you
Fair
know,
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
it's kind of funny, but I won't translate the direct meaning. But anyway, guys, of course, while we are seeing DS Cartel actually push here, they've been prominent since the start of this War of Emperium session, and they've been proving that they can actually deal with the guilds like Dominari in defending this castle. But we are going to see a different guild for now. This this cartel, and I'm excited on what they will bring against other guilds who are going to participate in our War of Imperiums.
Yes. I want to see like multiple GVGs coming from DS Cartel. Maybe they can actually
Mm-hmm.
face Arsenal, maybe, or maybe they can do an head-on match versus Nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to see those fights for this session,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe Purple Dominari and DS Cartel again, but this time
Mm-hmm.
it's an open field fight. So
Yes.
let's see. Maybe they're gonna do that. You know.
Yes, and while you are taking a look at the other castles right now, I want to hype things out for our event that is going to come here in the Philippines. Of course, the PH Conquest Festival, because
Ooh,
ROGGH
let's
is
go.
coming. This is your chance to meet our RO cosplayers at Conquest Festival. Best of all, visit our booth, spin the wheel, and stand a chance to win our exclusive merchandise items. So catch ROGGH at Conquest Festival on July 23 and 24, booth C7 at
C7.
SMX Convention Center,
Yep.
Manila, Pasay City. And of course, we'll see you guys there. Of course, me and MG are going to be there. Of course, we will be doing some things.
Cosplay.
We will interview some of you players who are going.
Yeah.
Maybe if you guys are there, and you can share your thoughts with us. You can chat with us, and maybe you can share some stories with us, so we can, provide you with a better stream and a better insight on what's happening,
Yes.
everything in the RO
Oh,
community, ROGGH community.
yes. At the same time, I heard the goodies are very good. Mm. So
Yeah,
they
that's
need,
why
yeah,
they are called goodies.
yeah, it's
That's why
very
they're
good.
called goodies. They're
Goodies.
very good.
Yeah. So
So
they need
yeah,
to
you
get that.
can.
I mean, seriously, guys, you need to get those goodies. Maybe you can get
Yeah.
a, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of Conquest Festival, of course, the PH Conquest Festival free tickets giveaway. The winners has been announced, I think, last Friday or Saturday. So for the winners, you need to check your Facebook messages. Maybe you haven't gotten your ticket yet. So make sure to reply to your Facebook messages or check your email if you already sent a message and you need to confirm your emails and stuff like that. So
Yep.
make sure to check your messages if you haven't gotten your ticket yet and for the PH Conquest Festival.
Yep.
And yeah, and there will be a cosplay event in the Conquest Festival or the PH Conquest Festival. So for you can show off your RO costume because this is going to be the first ever ROGGH cosplay
Cosplay.
event
Yep.
in the Philippines, and it's open to all ROGGH players and cosplayers to join the event dressed in your finest Ragnarok outfits. And it's going to be based on public votes from the Facebook community. The top 3 cosplayers with the most votes will win Razer hardware.
Ooh.
And how to participate in the event. So you need to visit our booth C7 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our ROGGH crew will take a photo of you in your RO costume and post on our official Facebook page. And voting will close at 6 p.m. daily on July 23 and 24. Winners will be announced at 7 p.m. sharp at our booth.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go in, come and dressed in your RO costume. And I'm really excited to see the cosplayers, joining our
Yep.
PH Conquest Festival event, our
Yep.
GGH cosplay.
Yeah. And I'm pretty excited to wear my costume as well. So.
Yeah, we'll be wearing a Beelzebub costume because we don't need to dress up
Yeah.
because we already look like Beelzebub. Yeah, with
Yeah.
the big stomach and all.
Yeah. I thought we are gonna do the Kafir one. No?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going to
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
surprise. We're just gonna
Let's,
surprise
let's,
guys.
let's surprise everyone then.
Eh,
Okay. Let's
anyway,
going back to the ball game. Dominari is now at Scarlet Palace, and right now GS Cartel is defending the choke area on the other side of this bridge. And I think Dominar is trying to chase DS Cartel, or
Mm.
maybe the purple one is gonna
Mm.
contest the DS Cartel. But again, we're still checking it. Maybe another guild will fight this brand new unstoppable guild, DS Cartel, and
Mhm.
hopefully we can see maybe another matchup: Red Dominari versus DS Cartel. So let's
Yeah.
see. Hmm.
Uh, because like what we've seen earlier, if Dominari got serious in their push,
Yeah, they're very serious on that.
they're they're
Three
they're
kill.
very they're
Okay,
very dangerous. They are very dangerous.
but
And yeah, I just
eh,
like to read some of the comments here.
yeah, go.
Actually, a comment coming from Anne. She said, "Go, honey.
Ooh,
Even though your DB is not hitting, I still love you."
yeah.
Ah, supportive.
Hashtag support. Let's go.
Hashtag support.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright.
Okay. I think the DB is I mean, sometimes it's really hard to connect because of the I mean the skills from the Archbishop. Okay, so right now this is gonna be a hard
Mm-hmm.
spot coming from a Dominati. If they're gonna take this push, they're gonna be split on multiple spots here. But again,
Mm-hmm.
good recognition here coming from DS Cartel. They don't want to force the issue. They're gonna try to fall
Mm-hmm.
back on this one. Try to paddle back. They're gonna go in the
Mm-hmm.
portal now. Let's see if they're gonna reestablish on that portal. But no regroup there coming from DS Cartel, and I think are
Mm-hmm.
just gonna go in on the Imperium, or maybe just gonna try to delay some of the
Ooh.
players. But again, they still have the
Woo!
flag war to check the back lane of
Ah,
Dominari, but Dominari right now is just swarming through the Imperium room, and we're not seeing any this cartel on the
yeah.
map here.
I
And yeah,
think they just backed out. They just
yeah,
backed out. Because their defense has already been compromised. There in the at the entrance.
okay,
So
yeah.
maybe they just backed out, and they are going to try again in different castles. But coming from MC, I said the Wurzburg.
Ooh.
So maybe there is a battle happening there in Wurzburg Castle.
Okay, let me jump there.
So we can check that out and see if things
Ooh.
are happening
Okay.
different castles
Okay.
for now. But ghouls are just actually holding this castle, so we might see a push coming from a guild here earlier on.
Let me check the entrance.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious in where Last Nightmare is right now, because for the time being, actually, for the first quarter of our warfare, or the first half of our warfare session, they've been really quiet for now.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just prepping things up. Maybe they're not yet ready to go for a GVG.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
maybe they're just setting things up for now.
Yes. And at the same time, James, I'm very excited for Adonis Guild. We've been seeing Adonis Guild in War of Imperium sessions consistently. So I'm very
Mm-hmm.
excited for that guild. They've been showing strong numbers for the past weeks, and at the same time, their communication when it comes to fights, they're not scared to take down or to take a head-on match versus Dominaria. Last night we're in
Mm-hmm.
other big guilds. So having Adonis on this lineup for the guilds that we have for War of Imperium gives an extra flavor, and I'm hoping that they can actually get more numbers to face maybe a DS or maybe nonsense or maybe goons soon, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and actually, we're seeing Dominari attack the defense of goons here in this castle, but I think they're just regrouping for now.
Yep.
Maybe they're waiting for other members to go in, and actually, they're going in the another portal because that's not the portal
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go through. So
Just
you need to go. Yeah, yeah. So we're just following them though. We're
yep.
just we're just following them.
Yeah.
Anyway, while we are following Goons and Dominai right here, I want to also announce, of course, our ongoing events
Ooh.
currently in the server, because we have the Heroes Tale event currently ongoing, because the crack in the dimension left by Satan Morak when he ran away allowed Rune Midgard to discover the new world. Now, Scientists have discovered a new way to exploit its power:
Mm-hmm.
time traveling.
Here we
By
go.
using their new device, you can join them in the spatial rift. From there, you can still reach the new world, but you can also explore past times. For more information about this event, you can visit our website
G enjoy.
ro.gnjoy.asia or join the ROGGH Discord. Links can be found in the description of this video.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, so aspiring voice actor right here.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Speaking of time travel, hmm. Okay, I think Dominaris side is trying to reestablish their confidence versus a small guild for the meantime. I think they've been losing multiple push. I'm talking about the purple one. I think they've been losing multiple push on a guild defense, right? So
Mhm.
maybe they're just trying to reestablish their confidence slowly, and I think once it's reestablished, maybe they can actually take down again the Cartel, or maybe take down Goon's defense on this castle. So
Mhm.
let's see if Dominari can actually do a quick comeback for that loss that they had versus the Cartel.
Yeah, but actually Dominari earlier on actually I think managed to take down the defense of Goons and was able to
Mm-hmm.
destroy that Emperium in Wurzburg. But right now, I think Last Nightmare is preparing to push Dominari if I'm not mistaken. I think
Mm-hmm.
some members of Nightmare are outside Scarlet
Mm-hmm.
Palace. So maybe they are just a group or maybe just scouting other areas for a time being. But we are going to be seeing a lot of action here in this War of Empires since guilds are aching for some GVG action against different guilds.
Yeah, that's actually
And
true.
I'm really curious on where the other guilds are. So yeah, we can actually show the other guilds. I see, Nemesis Armada defending here in Neuschwanstein or Alde Castle 1. And last nightmare I think they just have a Sura there just scouting around, and we see a Dragon's Breath. Oh, I think they were surprised with that Dragon's Breath coming from that member of last nightmare, just attacking, eliminating some members of Dominary, holding this entrance. But last nightmare is going to push in this castle. I'm not really sure if Dominari is already defending this castle for now. They might be defending the third portal
Yep.
because that's also a spot where you can defend this castle. Because that's also a portal defense spot that you can, easily defend
Yes.
because it has a small enough choke point that you can cast your skills. It's wider than the choke points that we are used to seeing, but it's compact enough that
Yep.
you can defend
Exactly.
with a decent number of players.
Okay, I think the Dominator is not gonna commit on this one. Diaz Cartel managed to cap. That's Valkyrie 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they're gonna go there, but on the same spot, Valkyrie 1 is captured by mga babaero.
Oh,
Ooh.
oof. All right.
Okay.
And of course, we also have another guild that I just saw. I think that's Force.
Mm.
You just captured Britonia 1 or the Ferian Castle. Yeah, actually, MG, you could take a look at a Nemesis Armada defending castle right here in Alde 1, New
I'll do it.
Swanstein. Yeah, they're just defending their castle for now. I'm not sure if there are players attacking or there are guilds attacking this castle, but they have quite a few numbers. They have the quite a few numbers defending this castle for now. So they might be just defending it and maybe move on to a different castle later on if the defense or their defense here got compromised.
Yep. Okay, they have a good numbers today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and check. Ooh.
Yeah.
So they have a different setup. They
Mm-hmm.
stick with the storm gust traps type of defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think no one will contest this. Maybe another small guild or maybe a medium guild. Adonis might contest this, but Adonis managed to take Bretonia 3.
Yeah, so they are just I think capturing different castles for now, making sure they have different castles on hand and maybe push in a different castle later on. And I want to see where Nonsense is. I'm trying to find
And
out
yeah,
where they
same
are
goes
right
with
now.
Fratres. I'm not sure if Fratres is gonna contest the fight here versus
Mm-hmm.
Armada since they have same numbers. But again, I believe there are I think they're teaming up as well.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they
Yeah, yeah, they're
are
teaming up.
allied
Yep,
with one
yep.
another, but we're not really sure about that. Um, and Dominary and Last Nightmare have been pretty quiet for now because they're not really going in against each other with in a full in a full guild versus guild action. So maybe they're just getting things ready for the GVG action
Yep.
against other guilds. But as what I see here in Scarlet Palace, actually Adonis push in is trying to attack a Last Nightmare for defending this portal in Scarlet Palace, and they managed to take down a few members of Last Nightmare right there.
Yes. And this is what I like about Adonis. They're trying to get out from out of their comfort zone because, as you can see, on the past War of Imperium, they've been just fighting um, the same size of their guild, and right now they're just trying to explore. They're trying to check if they can actually match now with the big guilds like Last Nightmare, Dominari, and they're not scared anymore, and they're very aggressive in the same time for guild versus guild. So again, good transition from Adonis, and hoping that we can actually see more fights on their for their guild. Maybe they can fight Fratres and other medium-sized guilds soon. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah, and they've been pretty quiet right now. Dominari, I think is just getting ready for a GVG. Maybe we'll be seeing them at different castles because they've been occupying castles that are not really hot castles like Wurzburg, Neuschwanstein, those castles. I think last time they actually battled it out at um, Wurzburg, or is that Nuremberg? I think
which
it's a castle in Aldebaran. They're just battling it out with each other there. So maybe they are, having a GVG action right there against each other, or
yep,
maybe they're just setting things up for now. But as you can see, Last Nightmare is just going to hold Scarlet Palace. Maybe they want to defend this castle again, or maybe they want to deal with Dominari who are going to attack later on, or maybe they're just regrouping for now.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I
And
think
yeah.
okay. Let me just go then check other maps. I think James. Let me just go then jump to a different map and maybe we can search for
Yeah,
maybe
you can
nonsense.
actually
Yeah,
take a look at where Nonsense is or the
yeah.
other guilds are at right now. Like Fratres, Nonsense Goons, Adonis, Arsenal. Maybe they are in different castles for now. So
Yep.
you can actually try and check. We're going to see where they are at right now. And while you are doing that and taking a look at where the other players are, other guilds are, and I want to announce that, of course, we have an SG community event that is going to happen. So, yes, you heard it right. It's ROGGH will be having a community event in Singapore on the 20th of August. So, come meet our CM Miko and the fellow players. You can RSVP your interest now. I think today is the last
Yep.
day you can RSVP for the event. So if you are in Singapore, if you have plans to go to Singapore and you want to join the event, you can RSVP now and confirm your attendance.
Yeah.
All right.
Singapore.
So yeah, today is the last day, and speaking of meetups like this and the community events like this, um, I remember at times when Ragnarok, there were a lot of players, there were a lot of people playing in
Mm-hmm.
um uh computer shops. There are a lot of
Yes.
players playing internet cafes and computer shops, just hanging out with your friends and playing with each other. You have a per shop there's or per cafe, internet cafe, there's a specific guild playing
Guilds.
there.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, Ragnarok has come a long way. And ROGGH, with ROGGH, preparing community events such as the Singapore community event, and of course this PH Conquest Festival
Conquest.
happening this is a chance for our players to meet again and maybe hang out with one another. Um, yeah, and it's going to be fun. And we are going to be seeing a lot of players there. We'll be there. We're going to see some cosplayers there. And, this is going to be an exciting uh, event that will happen both in Singapore and in the Philippines.
Yes, yes. Speaking of excitement, James, right
Mm-hmm.
now we have Arsenal, and on the other side is DS Cartel.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna be an interesting matchup. I think they have the same numbers. They have a decent competition on the side of Arsenal. But again, the question there is who's gonna take a
Mm-hmm.
first push on this one. On the side of Arsenal, there we are actually seeing the normal strategy, the storm gust damage
Mm-hmm.
there. But on the side of this cartel, we are seeing Diamond Dust casting. They have their slant protector and Numa few cells away from their land protector.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's gonna be a hard push. Again, Arsenal needs to move. If there's gonna be a third guild joining in the fight, because again, that's
But
gonna
I think you
be a
just need to go in. You just need to be
yep.
beside these two because I think they are going to clash right now. As you
Mm-hmm.
can see, some sewers are getting taken down. Arsenal is just pushing in. DS Cartel. It's going to be a GVG action between these two medium-sized guilds. As you can
Okay.
see, there's an Asim Bob coming in. Some Numas on the ground here for Arsenal, while DS Cartel has that land protector set up.
Oh,
Dragon's Breath coming from the side of DS Cartel, just dealing damage against Arsenal. Now Arsenal,
they're trying
back
to
down
push
for
now.
a bit right there, while
Big
DS
land
Cartel is
protection.
pushing out with that land
Oh,
protector, and of course they are going to
Dragon
deal
Breath.
heavy damage against Arsenal right here. DS
Oh,
Cartel is pushing Arsenal, eliminating a
wow.
lot of their members,
Good
and
damage.
managing to win that battle because of their aggressiveness and because they attacked first. Because they attacked first and they were aggressive at that time, they managed to take down and they managed to catch Arsenal off guard with their attack.
Yes, and I think those players who's trying to poke the damage of the Dragon Breath on
Mhm.
the side of DS Cartel towards the Arsenal, actually it paid off. They
Mhm.
managed to take down several key players on the side of Arsenal, and I think that's actually a good sign of going for a big push coming from from DS Cartel to Arsenal. So again, good recognition there on the side of this cartel, and nice try on the side of Arsenal, and hoping that they can actually counter back this strategy of the cartel. So let's see.
Yeah, and a while ago, while you were what do you call this, spectating the battle between
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal and the Cartel, a battle was happening in Scarlet Palace.
Ooh,
So it was Last Nightmare and Dominary dealing against one another right there. I think Last Nightmare filled in their push against Dominary because Dominary was holding that second portal. But right now, Last Nightmare is just regrouping and scouting things out, and maybe we'll have a go against Dominary and
yes,
maybe have a GVG battle here at the entrance of this
yes,
castle.
yes, and it's really nice to see that we have big fights from two
Mhm.
big guilds, and we have like good fights as well from our medium-sized guilds, such as
Yes.
Arsenal and DS Cartel. And
Mhm.
again, one of the best things that I like about DS Cartel is the suras. Those player or those suras that's trying to get the intel for the location of Arsenal on the map. Actually, having those informations on your hand can actually give you an upper hand or an advantage on certain situations. Like for
Mhm.
example, the positioning of their support. If they're very exposed, I think the suras can actually take down or pin down those supports immediately and take advantage. And they can actually take advantage on a quick, hard push towards their enemy. So,
Yes. And Arsenal is going to get ready to deal with this cartel right there. Some Numas and Land Protectors. Maybe we'll get cast on the side of Last Nightmare, or rather Arsenal
yep.
right there. But I'm not sure if casting that Land Protector is going to be a good strategy for Arsenal because the one who dealt damage the most against Arsenal was that Dragon's Breath and that Arrow Storm. So maybe casting that Numa on the ground will be better for them
Yes.
to deal with what they call this DS Cartel.
Yep.
So maybe they will actually manage to damage DS Cartel right there.
Okay.
Here goes the DS Cartel once again, pushing in with that Lamp Protector and that Arrow Storm and Dragon's Breath once again,
Oh,
catching Arsenal off guard. And if you did see what happened there, the Suras of DS Cartel actually pushed in
yep.
and went in the stack of Arsenal right there. They managed to cast that cursed circle, which made it harder for or rather Arsenal to defend their own members because a lot of them are disabled with that cursed circle. So they need to actually take note of that of what happened and deal with it accordingly.
Yes. At the same time, I actually saw multiple dispels coming on the side of Arsenal as well. I think most of their Runite got dispelled immediately. And what I like about the strategy or the approach of this guild, DS Cartel, is they know which player to pin down, which player to put status on, or which player to dispel immediately on those certain types. And I really like as well the mixed up of Land Protector and the Numa as well. So it's very situational, and it's I really like the recognition as well of that sorcerer. He has that quick pickup if he's gonna put a Land Protector, or is he gonna pull off the Land Protector to put those Numas on top of their carries.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and while they are setting things up right now, you might want to take a look at Scarlet Palace right now since we might see a battle between Last Nightmare and Dominari just regrouping right now. Um, I think Last Nightmare doesn't have enough numbers to deal with Dominari for time being, but they are just regrouping. They have members outside. They're just preparing themselves before they go in, or maybe they will go to a different castle.
Yep.
Because Dominari is just holding that area after the bridge. So they are just making sure they are waiting for Last Nightmare to push.
Okay. Yes, and as you can see, we have Aftershock capping Britannia 1. Oh,
So it's a new guild na na eyes right there and
yeah.
Alfheim as well. And the nonsense and goons are just capturing different castles for now. We see pirates as well. We've seen them capture a castle last War of Emperium session. But right now, we are going to be seeing some action unfold before our eyes later on as we check out different castles. Of course, the battle between Arsenal and DS Cartel. And I think
Yes.
Fratres, I saw a Fratres member right there. Fratres might be going in and join the battle. Yeah, Fratres might join the battle right
Yep.
there.
Okay, this is nonsense. Actually, they actually
Mm-hmm.
changed their logo into a blue one.
Mm. So maybe
Okay.
that's a different nonsense guild though.
Maybe.
Maybe that's a different nonsense guild. I'm not really sure. Not really sure. It might be a different nonsense guild. Um, going into that castle.
Yep.
Or it might be the same guild. They just changed the logo though, or they just changed their emblem. But the battle between Arsenal and DS Cartel, I think they are preparing for another action right here in Fat Grid.
Fat grid.
Yeah, in the entrance of Fat Grid, like what we saw earlier. So they are going to be dealing with one another again. As what I'm seeing right here, another cursed circle action happened for for DS Cartel, and they are pushing Arsenal back again. Because that cursor is going to be hard to deal with if you don't have enough numbers to damage the Suras that are just body relocating in your stack and casting that
Yes.
curse circle.
I think Arsenal should have a different approach on this one. Instead of waiting
Mm-hmm.
out and trying to turtle out the damage or sustaining the damage from DS Cartel, I think they should take the initiative and take the first push versus these guys. Again, they've been playing very defensive versus this guild. I think they should change their approach versus this Cartel.
Yeah, I think the best strategy for Arsenal here is to spread out their members more. Maybe they need to spread out their damage dealers more.
Yeah.
So, of course, if one stack got cursed circled by Asura, maybe they can attack that Sura to remove
The,
the the debuff from their other members.
yep. Yep. And
So
in the same time, that's
maybe they just need to change their strategy.
yes. And
Yeah,
again,
sorry.
going back to what you've mentioned, if they want to have those spread out push,
Mhm.
they need to avoid the choke point push on this one on this castle, because again they've been losing all the fights or all the push that they have on this castle. So maybe if they want to take the Escartel down, they need to
Mhm.
take it on the portal side of this area, and maybe they can actually try to spread out and have an easy target for their guild. I think some of the Escartel are very their mainly focus is the back lane, and they're trying to eliminate those supports immediately so they can counter or refresh their members back. So I think that's a good one strategy for this cartel.
Yeah, their damage their damage dealers are playing really well right there,
Yep.
and of course I want to commend their Suras, because of those Suras casting that cursed circle in the stack of Arsenal earlier. The damage dealers will not have a hard time into dealing enough damage to
Mm-hmm.
eliminate their opponents. And because of the support coming from the Suras and of course the back lane as well, they managed to actually easily wipe out their opponents.
Yes. And I think James, we can actually say that most of the suras that we're seeing on the side of DS Cartel I think their role is kind of utility. They're very versatile. They can actually do damage. They can actually support with the Numas as well. They can actually take down the carries, and at the same time they can actually hold multiple players on the enemy side. So it's a
Yes.
very flexible class, Sura, and it's really hard to pull off, especially with a big, um, with a big crowd in front of you.
Yes, and right now we are seeing goons try and deal with Last Nightmare right here, but the numbers will be on the side of Last Nightmare as goons are going to get pushed back. Last Nightmare pushed out and will deal damage against goons right here, and there goes the Dragon's Water's Breath once again from the Rune Knight of Last Nightmare, just eliminating a lot of the members of goons right there. And because of that, the
Ooh!
Guillotine Fist will get casted, eliminating that Rune Knight earlier on. And goons will have a hard time into dealing with their opponents right here since they don't have enough numbers to deal with their opponent's Last Nightmare. Of course, numbers are an advantage here in Ragnarok, and if we don't have enough members to deal with their opponents, you are going to be handicapped.
Yes, actually. And at the same time,
It's
James,
possible. It's
yep,
possible to win, but you are handicapped though. It's
yes.
very very difficult.
Yeah, and at the same time, James, I really like what that Sura did. He just casted that guillotine fist and went out.
Mhm.
You know, after that one kill, he just went out. So
Yeah,
yeah, just a quick punch and yeah, I'm out.
yeah, and since it's already I think it's already 1 hour 7
Yep.
minutes in our War of Emperium session. Of course, I want to remind you viewers that we are giving away codes that you can redeem in our website. So all you need to do is to go into ro.gnjoy.asia.com and you need to log in your ROGGH account, click on membership, then redeem code, type in the code that is shown there in the lower right, or again lower right portion of the screen. Again, codes are changed every now and then, so make sure to stay tuned if you want to win. If you want to have a chance to win items from the codes. Again,
Yes.
first come, first serve. First one to redeem the code will be able to get the prizes. If you're the second or the third one, the when you redeem the code, it will say their code has already been redeemed. So the items from the codes you can get battle manuals, job manuals, blessing scrolls, agi scrolls, mystic powders, and tears blessing.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, I think the purple one's just gonna try to hold. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Last Nightmare is gonna chase them down, but we don't
Mhm.
see any red dominari on this area.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
goons. Ooh.
I'm actually surprised, MG, that
Hmm.
Dominar is there. I thought Last Nightmare was the one holding the castle, but it turns out Dominaria was the one holding castle, and Last Nightmare was preparing for that offensive, and we see a novice right there.
Yep.
What? And that novice, Last Nightmare is not going to spare anyone.
Yes. Oh.
They just killed that novice right there who just went in. They just killed that novice who just walked in. So yeah, they're not going to spare anyone.
Okay,
And,
I think they're done
yeah.
sniping and just gonna push. Earlier, we just seeing like the warlocks are trying to snipe the players of Last Nightmare, but I think that they got bored and they just decided to push on the entrance.
Yeah, so they pushed out. Maybe they're not going to let Last Nightmare regroup because they want to defend this castle. Maybe Last Nightmare is regrouping outside of this castle as what we are
Ooh.
seeing right now. So they are just getting set. They are getting ready to push in this castle. They want to, enter together so that if there are Dominaria members defending this entrance, they won't take a lot of damage and consume some potions.
Yes, and I just want to talk about the Dominaries numbers. Currently, last week we actually saw like 2 Dominaries only, the red one and the purple one, and right now they have the pink one. So their numbers are increasing every War of Imperium.
Yeah,
Wow.
so maybe their two guilds are full currently. So that's why they have a new one, or maybe they're just
Yeah.
trying to spread things out.
I think they managed to take advantage of the XP boost that has been up lately. Yep, and at the same time, they actually won on the War of Imperium event. They have the supplies, they have the items maybe to share to those new members.
Yes.
Wow.
And a lot of events happening here in Ragnarok Online GGH. Of course, if you guys want to stay tuned for our events, make sure to join our Ragnarok Online GGH community Discord. Again, links can be found in the description of the stream. And speaking of events, we do have our second seasonal event ongoing here in ROGGH. It's the Noodle Festival event of Malangdo. Bears strange origins but has since evolved into a popular festival well loved by everyone. Each year, the cat citizens of Malangdo spend a full month eating noodles to celebrate the discovery of strange new lands and creatures. Now, they invite you to join in on the fun with them. Speak to Festa receptionist to join the festivities till August 4, 2022. Of course, for more information about this event, you can visit our website ro.gnjoy.asia or join the ROGGH Discord.
Yeah. Nice.
Alright.
Okay, so right now, I think they're just trying to wait out. But again, Dominaris inside. Last night we're trying to push now. Let's see if I think Dominari went in.
Yeah, I think they are going to defend a
Yep.
specific choke point here in this castle. Or maybe they want a GVG action against Last Nightmare right here. And we are just following this ranger with a wolf.
Okay. Oh.
And yeah, they
You're
are
correct.
preparing for that GVG
we
action
go.
against Last Nightmare right there. And this is the castle where they had their last GVG battle.
Yep.
In the previous sessions. So now right now they're just prepping up, getting ready for that GVG action, GVG battle against Last Nightmare. So they are just communicating perfectly right there. And you can see you can see
Shuya.
here there.
Shuya is getting
Yeah,
bursted there.
he just fob who to PM.
Yeah.
Of course, they want to have at least a GVG action. They want to, get ready and, start at the same time.
Yes, and
So no one will catch each other off guard.
yes, and to be fair,
Alright.
James, this is actually one of the best things that I like about Dominari and Last Nightmare. They have that respect from each other that they just want to have fun, purely fights, no trash talks maybe, and they just want to test out their fighting capabilities on both end and the execution as well. And I think Purple Dominari is very ready on this one. And ooh,
Oh no. Oh no.
ooh, Ooh.
So they're not forgiving.
Yeah.
So so they don't want anyone going close to their stack right
Yeah,
there.
you hit Shuya, we hit
Both
you.
yeah, both on Last Nightmare side and on Dominaria side. They don't want anyone going their stack.
Okay.
So because I think some of their what do you call it, minstrels got eliminated right there. They are going to wait for those members to go in or
Yep.
to what do you call these regroup.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and
So,
while they are preparing right here, of course, if you want to grab a hold of or a chance to grab a hold of all the latest items in game, till July 22, of course, you can, because Demonic Egg is now up and active.
oh yeah,
So
demonic.
you can still get a chance to grab those latest items in game. All right. So Demonic Egg. And Demonic Egg is kind of like a gacha.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I'm really not lucky when it comes to those things.
Yeah. Same. Same. My RNG
Yeah.
is really bad on every MMORPG. So,
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah, and you can get decent items there, but RNG is going to be a huge factor. And right now, of course, these guilds are just preparing to go in for that GVG against one another, and they're just letting the members of Dominaria pass through. Of course, they want to get ready for GVG. Some scouts are there, of course, that they're just
Someone's
flagging
waving a
one
flag.
another.
Someone's
They're just
waving a
waving
flag.
their
Don't
flag
hit.
and just
Yeah.
preparing. They just want to make sure that everything's all set. Maybe they want
Okay.
to message one another and say, "Let's start in a bit. Get ready in 3, 2." Maybe they want to
Yep.
count down, stuff like that.
Yes, and I just want to discuss the lineup of this guild. As you can see on the side of Last Nightmare, they have their sorcerer in front. They have their archbishop in front as well. So
Mhm.
most of their carries is at the middle stack, right?
Yeah.
So you will see suras, one sura, two suras in front, but mostly archbishop and sorcerer in front. On the side of Dominari,
Mhm.
I'm not sure. It's kind of spread out at the moment. They have this
Yeah.
mechanic. They have their arcades there, and they're pretty
Yeah.
scattered at the moment.
Yeah, I think the idea of Last Nightmare right there. Actually, I like the idea of Last Nightmare spreading out their suras. Because you can have different types of suras. You can have those support suras that just cast per circle against your opponent, and maybe let them sit down with that windmill.
Okay.
But you can also
think they're
have
starting
damage
now.
dealer suras in your stock, and right now we are going to see
Dragon
a huge
Breath?
battle going in the going to unfold
Quick
right
dispel there?
before our eyes right now. Curse Circle coming
Oh,
from
Diamond Dog
Last
connected now?
Nightmare, like what I said earlier. Curse Circle coming
Oh.
from Last Nightmare suras, and because of that, they managed to take down a lot of members of Dominari, and because they got disabled by that Curse Circle, because it has a huge range. When you cast that Curse Circle, and you will really get disabled. You won't be able to do anything unless you eliminate that Sura who casted that Curse Circle.
Did he-
So I like what Last Nightmare did. They spread out their numbers, they spread out their members, their damage dealers and supports to make sure that if a Dominari Sura actually casted Curse Circle in their stack, they will be able to still deal damage against their opponents, or that Sura who just casted that Curse Circle. So they will be able to eliminate, um, you know, the ones going near their stack.
Yes, actually, it's really hard to pinpoint which character to focus on the side of Last Nightmare. You have your sorcerer in front. You have the archbishop supporting, putting Yumas. You have the sorcerer there, putting land protection from time to time and removing the land protection from time to time, and you have the suras doing curse circle. So basically, if you're on the side of Dominari, you need to have 3 targets. You need to guard those 3 player or 3 classes. You need to guard those 3 classes in order for your guild to be successful in doing a counter push. But again, they actually made a mix up there. Like you mentioned earlier, they tried to spread out their suras, um, jumping on multiple directions, making sure that if one sura is getting caught on that side, they still have the south side Suras that will cast Curse Circle around them. And again,
Yes.
that is a very well performed performance or very well execution on the side of Last Nightmare. So props to those Suras. And at the same time for that for those sorcerers and archbishops for putting Numas, dispels for sorcerers and land protection. So very well played on the side of Last Nightmare.
Yes, and I think Dominaria just needs to re-strategize against that GBG against Last Nightmare. Maybe they want to try their strategy once again.
Yep.
I think trying their strategy once again uh, is going to be the best option because they just might have a different way to approach what's happening against Last Nightmare
Yes.
because they might just be caught off guard. So maybe they want to try their strategy again.
Yes.
So I like how they are just preparing for that GVG action again. That this GVG will actually test their fighting capabilities, like what you said
Yes.
earlier. So I think this is a good way for these guilds to actually have fun and to test everything out against one another. These are two even-sized guilds right here. I think Red Dominary will come next, maybe if they want to.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
Yes, and another comment on my end, my opinion. I think on the side of Dominari, most of their Rune Knights, if I'm not mistaken, right, or those characters casting Dragon's Breath, I think they're too exposed on the front line. So maybe they're getting those dispels multiple times, and at the same time they're getting pin target by those Suras, or I think that the Suras is aware where to jump because those characters are very exposed on the front line. I think if they want to hide those characters, they need to make sure that it's properly properly lined at the mid part of their stack, not on the front side. Because if it's on the front side, it's very easy to dispel and to pin target those Rune Knights.
Yes, and the difference between the composition of these two guilds is that Last Nightmare doesn't have a lot of Rune Knights. They have decent number of Rune Knights there, but most of their damage dealers are Rangers and
Suras, yeah.
magic damage dealers. They have a lot of Suras for support. I think they have Tiger Cannon Suras as well to deal
Yeah.
damage against the stack. They have Gate of Hell and support Suras like just casting Curse Circle. But most of their damage dealers are Rangers, Sorcerers, and Warlocks. While on the side of Dominati, they have like a lot of Rune Knights. So that's why maybe the best option for Last Nightmare is to cast that Numa instead of
Yeah.
casting that Land Protector to deal with their opponents. But the damage of the Warlocks and Sorcerers are sometimes too much to handle if you are getting a lot of or you are taking a lot of heavy magic
Yes.
damage, because you can actually deal with the damage of uh, what do you call this, those arrow storms and dragon's breath if you have a defending arrow on with your royal guard, if you have a support or a sacrifice royal guard in your guild. So maybe they just want to test things out. That's why some of their members are what do you call this, changing their roles every now and then.
Yes.
So they need to re-roll. They want to change their lineup. Maybe test what works best in our composition to actually be unstoppable. We want to test things out. So this is the good way. This is a good way for our guilds to test things out. Of course, if their attack or their strategy is working against another guild in a GVG scenario.
Yes, I agree. And at the same time, to be fair, on the side of Last Nightmare, they only have like 3 to 4 Rune Knights on their side, and they have like 6 to 7 Suras on their lineup right now. And I agree, they need to change their lineup. But again, I think their Dominaris lineup is pretty good as well. What I think that they need to adjust is they need to be aggressive on this one. They need to prevent the casters or the support system of Last Nightmare. They need to disable those Archbishop and Sorcerer, preventing to cast those Land Protectors and Yuma from time to time. If they can manage to take out those key class on the side of Last Nightmare, I think they can pull off with the Dragon Breath build lineup on this one, and they can actually secure or bag the win on this
Yeah.
matchup. So they just need to
Yeah.
be aggressive, take the initiative, commit, don't paddle back. Um, do put the sorcerer on the dispel mode, so they can
Mhm.
actually prevent those archbishop or sorcerer on the side of last nightmare to do their job basically. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's my 2 cents on that one.
maybe they just need to let their mechanics do their work and maybe help them go into the stack of the opposing guild. Because if they manage to go enter the stack of their opposing guild, they can actually self destruct and deal heavy damage against a wide AOE
Yep.
right there. And
Okay.
it's
Okay,
going
he
to be
jumped in
hard to
now.
handle. Right,
Padre
right, you
reload
see
there.
right here, Last Nightmare is going in, and look at the Suros of Last Nightmare just pushing
Okay,
in.
good.
But because they
Good
actually
sustain.
didn't actually communicate
Okay.
well, the Suras got taken down very very quickly at that time, and Dominari is having
Oh,
or taking a lot of heavy damage
good adjustment
coming
there.
from the Dragon's Water Breath from a Rune Knight with the help of that Royal Guard just at the back. I think that Rune Knight has a sacrifice or has a devotion on him right there. That's
Yes.
why he was able to deal heavy damage against Dominari. That's holding right there. But
Yes.
Dominari is trying to push back. Of course, the battle is not over between these two guilds. Dominari is still alive, and they want to push back against Last Nightmare. Of course, there are still members at both sides
Yep.
right there, and Last Nightmare doesn't have a lot of numbers, and you can take a look at Last Nightmare's numbers on the left side. Maybe there are more Last Nightmare members right there, Suras, and of course they have that Warlock and Sorcerer
Yes, I think
still
this
left
is
in their stack.
yes, I think this
So
is the last
maybe, yeah.
last members of a last nightmare there. Again, they almost lost on that push. We actually saw one Sura immediately a battery lock at the middle and tried to cast a curse circle, but I think that failed on the side of last nightmare, and also they put one guillotine cross inside the stack. That's why we saw some of the Dominari paddle back at the south side of this map, and I think some of the Rune Knights managed to sustain the fights at the middle, and actually those Rune Knights who sustained at the middle, they actually carried or draw the attention. At least like 7 players is attacking them earlier. That gives Dominaris back lane to deal with the Guillotine Cross and manage to recover on the mid part. And good composition there, or good composure there. And I think they almost lost, but again, good comeback there on Dominari, securing the win. And I think Last Nightmare was too aggressive, and I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
agree
trying
with
to
you there that Last Nightmare was too aggressive though.
yeah, I think they're just trying to experiment as well. Maybe they're trying to do a quick Madarelo with a guillotine cross on the stack, doing camouflage and doing massive damage. But again, it didn't pay off there. Um, Dominari has the answer to counter that. So good composition there. And those 3 Rune Knights on the side of Dominari, thanks to them, they managed to secure the win. So yeah, good job on Dominari.
Yeah, well, a lot of members of Dominari got eliminated
Yep.
because of the Rune Knight of Last Nightmare earlier. But I agree with you there that Last Nightmare got a bit aggressive. Their Suras actually overextended without waiting for
Yeah.
their whole
I agree.
guild to actually push in. So because they went in, they overextended, they body relocked too quick in the stack of Dominari right there. They got eliminated really, really quickly and early on the start of the fight. So because of what happened right there, they don't have enough support to deal with their opponents. They don't have that curse circle to disable their opponents right there.
Mm-hmm.
And because, their Suras overextended when they started the fight. And that cost them their downfall, and
Like
they
7 players.
Dominari took advantage of the situation and got that win against Last Nightmare.
Yes.
Because at the end of that battle, Dominari had more numbers remaining than Last Nightmare. And while that was happening earlier on, MG, Luina 4 actually was defended by, or Wurzburg Castle was defended earlier on by Fratres Advitam. But Nonsense actually pushed in and dealt with the defense of Fratres at that time.
That's actually and we are actually seeing multiple fights right now. But again,
Mm-hmm.
this GVG is very nice. They're actually trying to test out their skills. At the same time, we are seeing a 1-1 score, 1 point for Last Nightmare, 1 point for Dominari Purple. So I think this is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a deciding match for these two guilds, and can't wait to see who's gonna you know win this series between them.
Yes, and while they are battling it out against one another right there, some castles are getting defended by different guilds like Yes Nelf. Mga Babaero is defending. They have decent numbers right now.
Yes.
If you want to check later on, and I like their emblem. It's kind of
Mm.
like a slash kiss
Yes. That.
emote with shades.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
All right. So we can check that out later on. But this is going to be a third GVG action between these two guilds, Dominari or the purple or pink Dominari against Last Nightmare.
Yep.
So they are just waiting for the ghost signal before they start their GVG, and of course the battle will unfold before our eyes in a bit. While that is going to happen, MG, um, they need to prepare themselves into what strategy they are going to do.
Yep.
Because I think earlier on, Last Nightmare made a mistake. They made a huge mistake by letting their Suras go in first. They overextended.
Yes.
They didn't have enough time to go in because they were just waiting for their Suras to actually make a move. But their Suras overextended, you know, not at the range where Dominari or rather last night the guild members of Last Nightmare can reach them.
Exactly.
But right now you can see Dominari right here. They have that land protector set up. I think the ghost signal went off.
Yes.
Some
Okay.
mechanic is going to go in, and I
Here
think
we go.
a
Oh.
self-destruct. I think a self-destruct got casted on the stack of Last Nightmare, and of course those arrow storms will go off. And the Dominari is going to be able to push Last Nightmare right there.
Wow.
Their mechanics went in, of course, using those mobility skills from that mechanic, and that distracted Last Nightmare right there. We didn't actually see everything happen right there, but I think a self-destruct happened, eliminating a lot of members from Last Nightmare. Of course, with those arrow storms and Dragon's Breath to follow up that damage, eliminated a lot of Last Nightmare, and in the end, Nominari got the best of Last Nightmare at that
Yes.
GVG battle. But while they are just going to push out right there, MG, let's check out other castles right now.
Yep.
So
And
you can go here at yes, Nelv, actually Jeff in Castle 3, but I think only a few members of Mga Babaero is left here. But early on they were defending this castle though.
yes. And again, good recognition on the side of Dominari, because they
Mm-hmm.
know for a fact that most of the support system of the Guild of Last Nightmare is at the front. So that explosion coming from the mechanic is actually a perfect one to destroy the support system of this guild. And
Mm-hmm.
having those follow ups, yeah, as you mentioned earlier, for the follow ups of the Dragon Breath, actually gave them a clear opportunity to take down the Suras one by one. So nice execution there coming from
Mm-hmm.
Dominari. Yes.
Yes, and speaking of opportunities, MG, one opportunity that is present right now in the server is the Help King Pouring event because
Ooh.
King Pouring needs your help. Speak to him in Frontera to find out what he needs. You will be sent on a daily mission to hunt golden pourings. Make sure you collect its drops. Trade in the items dropped in exchange for consumables or a costume pouring bag. The event period will be until August 4, 2022. And if you want to know more information about the event, you can visit the website or join the ROGGH Discord. Again, a lot of opportunities are opening up here in Ragnarok Online GGH, both in-game and outside. Because aside from the in-game events like what I mentioned, the Help King Pouring event, we also do have other community events like the SG community event that is going to happen in Singapore. So you can still RSVP your interest now. I think it's only until tonight you can
Yes.
meet our CM Miko and fellow players, and it will happen on the 20th of August in Singapore. All
Singapore,
right,
yes.
and
Ooh.
aside from that, MG, what we've been mentioning earlier on the PH Conquest Festival event that will happen in the Philippines. It's this weekend, so make
Yes.
sure you attend the event. I think tickets are. I don't know if some of them are still available for now because um, they actually sold tickets again earlier
Yes.
tonight, earlier on. But there were ticket giveaways. So if you haven't actually received your ticket just yet, you can check your Facebook messages. Maybe ROGGH already messaged you about that. You need to respond and maybe check your email after that. If they sent an email, you need to respond to that as well. And a lot of activities are going to happen there at the PH Conquest Festival event in the ROGGH booth at C7 at SMX Convention Center, Manila. You'll be able to meet us there. You'll be able to meet CM Iko will be there as well. And you'll be able to meet ROGGH cosplayers or RO cosplayers there as well. And you can meet your fellow players. You can have a chat with them. Maybe we can interview some of you guys and share with us some of your stories and maybe your ROGGH experience. And you
Yes.
can have fun in the PH Conquest Festival ROGGH booth.
Yep.
All right.
Ooh. Okay, I'm actually trying to
And
check the castles right now.
mm,
Okay.
yeah, and MG, I'm
Ooh.
pretty excited on what's going to happen this weekend.
Yes.
All right, I want to meet the our players and the cosplayers. I'm excited to
those-
see what they will be cosplaying on Saturday and Sunday. So we might see a Kafra cosplay. We might see a character cosplay, a Sura cosplay, maybe with the
Sura.
built up body right there. Or we might be seeing some Archbishop, some first job or second job cosplays. So
Yes.
I'm really excited to see what our cosplayers will do for our ROGGH cosplay event because in the PH cosplay event or ROGGH cosplay event, this is the first ever in the Philippines and it's open to all ROGGH players and cosplayers to join. It's going to be based on public votes from the Facebook community, and the top 3 cosplayers with the most votes will win Razer hardware.
Ooh.
You need to visit our booth C7 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and the ROGGH crew will take a photo of you in your RO costume and post it on our official Facebook page. Voting will close 6 p.m. daily on July 23 and 24, and the winners will be announced at 7 p.m. sharp on our booth. All right, so you should come and dress in your RO costume and visit ROGGH booth. All right.
Yep. Okay, so right
Yeah.
now, Dominati Purple is trying to contest Gun's defense.
Mhm.
So currently, the Guns right now is trying to slow down the offense of Dominari, but apparently Dominari, as we know, they have the numbers. They're just gonna push through the defense of Guns here, and they're just gonna try to hit the Imperium right away.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Goons have enough numbers to deal with
Mm-hmm.
Dominari right there. If Dominari wants to do a serious push, like what we saw earlier in Kremlin Castle against the Cartel, Dominari is dangerous.
Agree.
Dominari is a
I agree.
dangerous um, guild because they can push you really, really well with those numbers, with their sheer numbers. And the only guild that I think that I can deal with them is the numbers of Last
Last
Nightmare.
nightmare.
But I think Dominari has more members since they have uh, 2 full guilds currently. I think, and they have another guild, the pink one.
Yes.
So yeah, the only guild that can compete with them in terms of numbers, I think, is Last Nightmare. But we saw the GVG action that unfolded before our eyes earlier on, the battle between Purple or Pink Dominary versus Last Nightmare. And I think since we only have around 20 minutes left in our War of Emperium session, guilds are just coming down. They want to take this opportunity to settle down on their specific castles.
Yes, I
So
agree.
maybe we might see a guild in Scarlet maybe later on, because that's one of the castle that a lot of guilds are fighting for because of the drop of that castle though.
Yes. I think last Nightmare changed their logo again to a dragon.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go and check the maps here. We
Hmm.
have goons.
Well, I'm I want to check out what's happening between the battle of Arsenal and the Cartel,
Ooh.
because earlier on I think they were in Gondul Castle. They were in rather Fadgrid Castle
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of Frontera Valkyrie realm. So I think for the most part, DS Cartel got the upper hand
Mm-hmm.
against Arsenal at that time, because Arsenal, needs to re-strategize. They don't have a lot of numbers compared to DS Cartel,
Yes.
but DS Cartel strategy is good. It's good against Arsenal because, like what last night in a smaller scale, they're doing what Last Nightmare is doing, like pushing their Suras closer, casting that curse circle against your opponents, then actually following it up with heavy firepower against
Yes.
from the back lane or from your damage dealers.
Yep. And I think there are the guilds who's trying to approach the game in a different way. We actually
Mm-hmm.
saw their defense. They're actually putting a different style of lineups. They have more players that's very aggressive on the ground, on ground control, and they're
Mm-hmm.
not just casting like Stormgus, because I think Stormgus is pretty well known, and I think that they're just trying to use a different approach. I think they're just maximizing their sorcerer from time to time, and same goes with their suras.
Mm-hmm.
They're very aggressive. They want to pin down targets, and I think that
Yeah.
it's a well organized composition on the side of the Cartel, and that's what I like about them. And I'm very surprised on the first War of Imperium that we saw them defeating Dominari on a defense state, and not only that, they actually taunted Dominari on having a massive push or an all-in push versus their guild. Still,
Mm-hmm.
um, still they lost, but at least they tried. And again, that's a good performance still on the side
Yes.
of the Escartel for pulling
Yes.
Dominari's number into them. So
Mm-hmm.
very
And yeah, I
commended.
think you need to hold that thought, MG, as I think DS Cartel will be pushing in against Arsenal here in Kremhild Castle. So if you can catch that on camera, I'm actually spectating them right now. They're not yet pushing in, but they might push in a bit. Actually, they are pushing in now, so I don't think you're gonna catch that on camera. But their numbers are getting beaten down by DS Cartel right there. I think DS Cartel pushed in perfectly against Arsenal here in Kremhild Castle. So they're just going to slowly but surely push in against Arsenal defending Kremhild.
Hmm.
So I think they're going to take this castle down and secure this castle, maybe defend it while Arsenal pushes in later on.
Yes.
Or maybe Arsenal will decide on a different castle. So not really sure what will happen.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and slowly but surely, guilds are just going to hold their own castle, like what mga babaero is doing right here in Yesnel, in Jeffen Castle 3. They're just holding this Emperium room. They've been here for quite a while. Maybe they just pushed out a while ago. But we'll know later on, as we are going to see some big guilds, capture different castles later on as the War of Imperium ends. So they are just going to spread their numbers since we only have around 17 minutes left in our War of
Yes.
Imperium session. They are just going to spread their numbers out. They are just going to push the different breakers in different castles to secure more castles to gain more benefits and special advantages every War of Imperium.
Yes. And I think this is actually a good strategy on the side of
Mm-hmm.
um DS Cartel. They're actually not breaking
Mm-hmm.
the Imperium yet, and they have this multiple players trying to scout, making sure that they are aware which guild are which guild is gonna
Mm-hmm.
contest them. So I think most of the players of this cartel is at the Imperium. Most of the Suras are scouting,
Mhm.
and I think no one is gonna contest this. Maybe Arsenal. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and
Yes.
check.
Maybe Arsenal will contest it, or maybe Dominari or Last Nightmare might push in later on in this castle, since we only have a few minutes left in our Wharf Imperium session. And speaking of what's left here in Wharf Imperium session, I do want to mention our level up box here in ROGGH. It's a new permanent feature, and upon creating a new character, a new item, new user box will automatically appear in your inventory. Opening the box will grant you various consumables and equipment. For every 10 levels achieved until level 90,
Mm-hmm.
you can open a new box and receive more items. To find out more about the feature, you can visit our website r.gnjoy.asia or join the ROGGH Discord. And if you want to, of course, beef up your Ragnarok Online GGH experience, there's also a Razer Gold July promotion. From July 1 to July 31, 2022, 11:59 p.m. GMT plus 8,
Mm-hmm.
you can recharge your GNjoy account via Razer Gold wallet and get some in-game items such as Mystic Powders, Tears Blessing, Unlimited Flywing Box, Battle Manual, Job Manual, and Analyze Eye for free. Players will receive 5% bonus Razer Gold with a minimum recharge while stocks last. There is also a top spender promotion. The top spender will receive a Razer Huntsman V2 clicking
Ooh.
optical switch, and the third top spender will receive a Black Shark V2. And the fourth to 10th top spender will receive a $10 Razer Gold voucher. And again, if you want to know more information about the promotion, I encourage you all to visit our website ro.gnjoy.asia.com or join the ROGGH
GGH.
Discord.
Or
Again, the links can be found in the description of the stream or in the pinned comment section. All right.
yes, Razor buff. Hmm.
Yes, Razer Buff, since you'll be getting a lot of stuff, not only in game, but also out. You can get free stuff.
Especially in
All
Conquest,
right.
I think if you're gonna win the cosplay, you're gonna get some Razor items
Yeah,
as
you
well.
can get Razer items as well. I think also in the spin the wheel,
Yep.
you can get exclusive ROGGH merchandise as well. Maybe there's going to be Razer items there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really sure. You'll know when you visit Conquest Festival. Of course, I want you guys to all enjoy our PH Conquest Festival for all ROGGH players out there. You need to visit our ROGGH booth.
Yes, I'm pretty excited about that, especially with the photo booth as well, and at the same time with the goodies as well. So yeah,
Yeah. And if you want to make it your first visit, it's going to be on the C7
seems
area. All right. So you need to remember it's C7. It's easy to remember because it's
easy
C and 7.
7.
There's no connection, but,
Okay,
there's, no,
okay,
there's
okay,
no connection. But
okay.
you need to imprint it on your mind that the booth will be at the C7 section in
Yeah,
SMS
I really
Convention Center.
I like the confidence there, James.
Yeah. All right. And we do have a lot of ongoing events currently in the server,
Yep.
and a lot more will come. Of course, here in ROGGH, not only in game but also outside the game, like the Peach Conquest Festival, the SG Community
SG
event.
community, yeah.
Of course, we want to hype things out for you all, and the Conquest Festival is really going to be a hype up event because ROGGH is going to be doing a lot of things there in the Peach Conquest Festival. So if you want to, participate in the, I think there will be a lucky draw.
Yeah.
If I'm
Lucky
not
draw.
mistaken, every 5 p.m. There in the ROGGH booth. So you need to go and maybe try your luck.
Try your
try your
art.
luck. Try your RNG luck. All right, try your luck
Yes.
there in the spin the wheel and the lucky draw.
Yep.
All right, you might be able to win some awesome stuff. Because ROGGH is pretty generous into giving away exclusive merchandise and Razer
Yes.
merchandise as well. Especially the Razer Gold promotion.
Yep. And I can't wait who's gonna win the Razer items and what Razer items are they gonna are they gonna give away. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can see that as well. And I think we're gonna
Hmm.
go live maybe on that day as well.
Yeah, we're gonna go live at
Yeah, we're
that
gonna
day.
go
Of course,
live.
for those of you guys who will not be able to attend, or you're in a different country for now, you're not in the Philippines, or you don't have a ticket
Mm-hmm.
for Conquest Festival. Of course, we'll let you in on the fun by
We got you
doing a
covered.
live
Yeah,
stream there.
we got you
Yeah, we
covered.
got you covered, but we're not going to show you everything. Of course, it's better for you to experience everything that's going to unfold in person.
Yep.
Because a lot of things will happen there. We're just going to show you uh, what happened or maybe what's happening currently, but you won't be able to participate. But no,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. And I can't wait to see you all in the upcoming Conquest Festival because you'll be able to see us there. You'll be able to see your CMs there,
Yep.
and of course the other players there as well. So you'll be able to chat with them. If you're having you're having banter with them in game. Maybe when you meet each other outside the game or they're in Conquest Festival, you're all buddy buddy and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Because I've seen that happen a lot of times, no. And
Yeah.
that's what we call like keyboard warriors. That's what
Exactly.
they call keyboard warriors in the when you meet each other in person, you're all friends.
Yes.
It's only in game, so that's a good thing about RO.
And
When you're in game, you're enemies, but when you're outside the game, you're friends.
yes. And what I like about what GGH did there is they're trying to bring the Ragnarok GGH closer to those people who's been,
Mhm.
playing and been supporting Ragnarok since day one, right? And having those events here in the Philippines or in Singapore, it actually helps to enjoy more what you're
Mhm.
playing, especially because we know that we've been stuck in on the pandemic for some time, and having these events from time to time, it's actually really refreshing and it brings back
Mhm.
those good moments when you're just playing and having your good friends with you, doing parties and all, and doing a
Yes.
meetups as well. So thank you
Yes.
so much, ROGGH, for this event. Really,
Yes,
it's a really an
and
awesome event.
yeah, it's not only going to be, and it's not only the event that will happen, of course,
Yeah.
for in ROGGH, there will be more to come. So you need to stay tuned for that. And of course, if you want to stay up to date of all the events and what's happening, again, like and follow the ROGGH
Yes.
official Facebook page. You can join the ROGGH Discord. And you can visit the website from time to time, of course, and you can watch the live streams. Of course, watching the live streams, you will stay. We will keep you guys up to date all the time.
Yes. And the
All
Facebook is
right.
very updated as well. If there's a upcoming patch or maintenance,
Mhm.
they're putting the post there real time. So I suggest they better follow and like that. Same goes with the
Mhm.
Discord as well. So, yep.
Yes, and going back to our War of Imperium session right now, MG.
Hmm.
Guilds right now are just going to hold their specific castle since you only have 8 minutes left in our War of Imperium session. Someone is holding Scarlet Palace right now. Some of them are breaking different castles, like we can see in their feed. I'm sorry,
Yep.
like Goons just capturing Britannia 5, Dominary capturing Balder 1, and so on and so forth. These guilds are just, getting ready to get those specific exclusive items from different castles because, like what I've mentioned earlier, the specific castle drops are really important for our players because you can craft different items with it, and you aside from those specific castle drops, you can also get additional supplies.
Yep.
You can also get additional equipment from these treasure chests that are spawning every 12 a.m. Inside the castles.
Yes.
So you need to make sure to get those treasure chests or break those treasure chests to get those items.
Yes. Having
And
those having those items as well, James, can actually help your fellow guildmates to boost their
mhm.
gears, right? And I believe perfect example for this one is Dominari. They've been capitalizing their economy from time to time and
Mhm.
resulting into a good numbers on their side. We saw two Dominaris, the red and the purple, and right now they have the pink one, and it's been very their economy is very successful lately. So that's no wonder their numbers are going up on this sessions.
Yes. And right now, we are going to see a few members of Dominari push in on the defense of, I think Arsenal is defending
Yep.
this castle right now. So they don't have a lot of numbers currently for the time being, but with a few members of Dominari trying to push in, this is going to be difficult for Arsenal to defend. Unless they push back to the Emperium and maybe just use those traps to delay
Yep.
Dominari from pushing in. Because you only have around 5 minutes left in
Okay.
our War of Emperium session, and Dominari is pretty serious in this push. So they want to take down Arsenal that bad.
Yes.
So
We see.
maybe they just want this castle that bad because again, Scarlet Palace drops that emblem of the Sun God, which you can use to craft that hat of the Sun God or
Mm-hmm.
what you call SGH Solar God Helm, and it is a really popular headgear because it's like a status symbol.
Yes.
It's like a status symbol that if you have that, you are rich and you have
Ooh.
oh
Hostage
I
strat
no
from
I think
Arsenal.
I think I think a member of Dominari just
No, no.
went in.
I think it's a hostage strat from Arsenal.
No,
Ooh.
I don't think Arsenal was the one who captured that. I think that was Arsenal the one who captured that.
I think so. Wait, let me just check. Ah, no. I think it's
I
the.
no 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 no. I think you just got wiped out. I think you just got eliminated there.
Oh yeah.
But Arsenal is still. I think you just got attacked. But Arsenal, I think, is just going to defend this Emperium. I think a Dominari is still going to push in. So I think this castle will go to Dominari right here. As we don't have a lot of time left in our War of Imperium session. We only have around 4 minutes left in our War of Imperium
Last
session
nightmare.
for now. And yeah, Last Nightmare and the Dominari are having a bit of a skirmish right here against one another. Of course, only a few members of Last Nightmare are defending this castle. As a Dominari is pushing in. Dominari wants to break this Imperium. 3 minutes left in our War of Imperium session. And we are going to check out different castles for now. Some guilds or some what they call these castles are getting defended by Dominari. So they are holding a lot of castles right now. But what I'm surprised about is, um, Aftershock Guild. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how many members they have right now. But actually, you can go to Referion. They have a lot of numbers though.
Yep. Oh,
They
aftershock.
have a lot of Referion, yeah. So they have a lot of numbers though. So you can go to Jeffen Castle 1. So you can go in right now. So they have decent numbers though. If you can actually catch that. While Last Nightmare is trying to defend their own castle right there.
Oh.
So they have decent numbers right there. So if you can check out the numbers of Aftershock, and while Dominari is trying to break this castle. So actually, I thought it was only a single member for Aftershock just breaking different Imperiums, but I'm surprised they have quite a bit of numbers here. Here in our War of Imperium
Yes.
session.
Okay. I think Dominaris is trying to contest on this one. Aftershock has the numbers to defend this, and
Mhm.
we only have like 1 minute plus on a timer. So
Yeah.
if they're gonna play it safe, they need to put like one player at least outside just to disrupt this stack. And currently, Dominaris is just trying to force in the issue here inside Aftershock, but Aftershock has the numbers and has the answer to those pushes. So I think they're gonna secure this perfectly. And Goons will try their luck. I think they need to push. If they don't, they're gonna lose their time. And yep.
Yes, and I think last minute left here in our War of Emperium session. I believe DS Cartel was able to uh did they manage? I think yeah, they managed to capture Kremhild because earlier on I think they got pushed by Dominari or yeah, I think they got pushed by Dominari or maybe Arsenal. Then they managed to take actually Kremhild at the last minute of our War of Imperium session. So props to actually I think two new guilds who actually appeared in our War of Imperium session for today. MG.
Yes. DS Cartel, Aftershock, surprisingly, they have good numbers. Aftershock is just playing safe, maybe just is trying to test out the waters for the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good recognition that they don't have that numbers. They just need to play safe, and I think that resulted into a quick cap on their side or in their belt. But Dominari is showing their numbers and their guild can dominate, securing multiple castles for this session.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yes. Yeah, and I think some of our guilds were quiet for a time being, like Fratres. Fratres actually, I think, just managed to take two castles for this War of Imperium session.
hmm
But they are just playing it safe, like what you mentioned earlier. They're just playing it safe. They just want to capitalize on the battle that is happening every now and then in different castles and just stay quiet.
yep.
Just capture specific castles. Like what Aftershock is doing. They're just capturing different castles as well. And Adonis, surprisingly, they have decent numbers as well. So they managed to capture Fat Grid for this session.
Yep.
Goons, have been keeping it quiet also. So, but they actually managed to battle it out with different guilds for this session. We just didn't capture that on camera.
Yep.
But surprisingly, this DS Cartel, this guild, they managed to capture two castles. So Valkyrie 4 and Valkyrie 1. And they have decent numbers. They managed to deal with Dominari earlier on. And if Dominari only pushed with one guild, I think
Yeah.
DS Cartel will have the upper hand since the Dominari doesn't have enough numbers to deal with the defense of DS Cartel is set up
hmm
in Kremhild Castle earlier on. But the numbers of DS Cartel might be improved in our next sessions because this is the first session that they actually appeared in front of us here in War of Imperium. So I'm pretty excited to see what our guilds are planning to do in our next sessions. And
Yes.
things are just getting started for other guilds like Aftershock and DS Cartel. Fratres Advitam, I think, is getting ready because last Saturday, Fratres Advitam has a lot of members and they defended really, really well against Last Nightmare and Dominari.
Yes. And definitely, James, you're correct about that. Having that good performance on the side of the Escartel, definitely they're gonna draw a huge attention to the community that we are the Escartel. We have these numbers. We can actually fight Dominari head on a 1v1 scale or even a 1v2 scale probably, but I think they just need more numbers. And regarding Aftershock, they're very consistent on capping. They have good numbers as well. Again, if they just gonna play it very smart, they're gonna get a lot of treasure chests on this push that they're doing right now. I think their plan for this War of Imperium is just cap multiple castles, get those items on point on every War of Imperium, get those treasure chests, upgrade those items, recruit and dominate. I think that's the plan or the strategic plan
Yes.
for Aftershock. On the DS side, they just need more numbers, and when
Mhm.
they hit that lock numbers on the side of DS Cartel, this guild is gonna be dangerous for Last Nightmare and
Mhm.
Dominari. So I think
Yes.
Last Nightmare and Dominari needs to watch their back because we have a brand new guild, DS Cartel, swarming in with a good GVG composition and a brand new
Yes.
approach on the defense and offense as well.
Yes. And if goons actually regroup their numbers as well and tries to deal with the numbers of Last Nightmare and Dominari, they will be able to deal a lot of damage as well if they actually perform really because they have in the earlier sessions they have a lot of numbers goons, as well as Adonis. You
Yep.
know, Adonis has been really quiet for the time being. Fratres as well. So if these guilds manage to cap up or cap their guild cap for 56 members, they'll be able to deal a lot of heavy damage
Yes.
against the dominating guilds currently in the server, like Dominari and Last Nightmare.
Yes. And again, I think they're making a statement to everyone that Adonis is a very consistent guild. They're not that many, but their numbers are very consistent from time to time. In every War of Imperium that we have here for GGH, they've been producing like two to at least two parties, minimum of two
Mm-hmm.
parties, and sometimes they can actually go for three parties.
Mm-hmm.
Having those good numbers on a guild, it's actually making a statement that we are a consistent guild. We're
Mm-hmm.
here to compete. We're here to dominate, and we're here to help you guys. So maybe that's the one that they're trying to send out, or that's the one that they're trying to, you know, they're trying to echo that message to everyone who's playing ROGGH right now.
Yes. And I know MG we want to talk about it more, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, this is the end of our War of Imperium session. And quick reminder to everyone, and I want to shout out our event. Of course, the SG community event RSVP will end tonight. So make sure to RSVP your interest right now if you are going to attend the ROGGH community event in Singapore on the 20th of August. You can
Yep.
go come meet our CM Biko
CM?
and the
Yeah.
fellow players there. Aside from that, PH Conquest Festival will happen on the weekend. It's going to be on Saturday and Sunday. ROGGH is coming and will be there, of course. And this is your chance to meet our RO cosplayers and our CMs as well, and us
Yep.
as well at Conquest Festival. And you can visit our booth, spin the wheel, and stand a chance to win exclusive merchandise items.
Yes.
And you know, you can visit our booth at C7. Again, it's easy to reminder because it's C and it's 7 at SMX Convention Center Manila, Pasay City. And if you want to join in on the cosplay event as well in the Conquest Festival, you can do so because this is the first ever ROGGH cosplay event in the Philippines, and it's open to all ROGGH players and cosplayers. And join the event dressed in your finest Ragnarok outfits. Again, it's based on public votes on Facebook community. The top 3 players with the most votes will win Razer hardware. And to participate in the event, you need to visit our booth C7
C7.
from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Our ROGGH crew will take a photo of you in RO costume and post it on our official Facebook page. Voting will close 6 p.m. daily on both July 23 and 24. Winners will be announced at 7 p.m. sharp at our booth.
Yep.
All right. And if you are one of the 30 lucky winners who actually won the Conquest Festival free tickets giveaway event, you need to remember to check your Facebook private messages is if Ragnarok Online GGH already messaged you. And if they did and you already responded, make sure to check your email. If they send an email, you need to respond to that as well.
Yes.
And yeah,
Oof.
and
Yeah, it's very James. The session for today is a very action packed. We saw a good game, new guilds, and yeah, it's a really nice War of Imperium session.
yes, and shout outs to all of the guilds who participated. DS Cartel, Last Nightmare, Dominari, Adonis,
Optus
Fratres
Day?
Ad Vitam, Opus Dei. Yeah,
Opus
Opus
Dei?
Dei actually participated
Yep.
as well. Aftershock, Nonsense. You know, some of the guilds were quiet, but you know, just doing their best into improving every session.
Yep.
Again, War of Emperium is every Saturday and Tuesday, 9 to 11 p.m. GMT plus 8. Shout out to all the viewers as well. And once again, we are your casters. My name is James.
And my name is MG.
And you'll see you all again in our next session. Bye, guys.